I've always said it's amazing what two people can do when they get in a room and look each other eye to eye, what they can get done.
The thing is, how can we all work together where everybody is successful? That's what we are, one North Carolina, and we've got to work towards being one North Carolina.
Because we feel strong about the fact that we work for the people back home.
I've been very lucky that I have the towns that I have to work with, and have a very open dialogue with those town officials, both the elected officials and the town employees.
Our mission is different from other cities, but that's the sort of communication that you need with your General Assembly members.
Well, you know, I know all of them. I know our mayor well, and I know the commission well, the council well. You know, so having that relationship for us, you know, there are a lot of issues that come up here that come about that you're not sure how that's going to work at home. So I need the relationship that I can call someone on the Jacksonville City Council or the Richlands Council or whatever it may be and have a conversation. Look, there's a lot of conversation up here about this particular issue. How's that going to affect you? What's that going to do for the city?
Years ago, there was some legislation that came up, and I happened to be involved in part of that. But at the end of the day, I heard a legislator say, well, we never heard from the city. We didn't know that this would be a potential hindrance to them. And that's what we want to eliminate. We want the communication to be always front and center so that they understand what challenges and opportunities that we have and how their role can help us or potentially hinder us. And I think that's extremely important, whether you're a town of 2,500 or a town of 100,000 plus.
So yeah, those relationships are key, and we do talk quite often because, as you know, there's a lot of issues up here that just show up out of nowhere, and you wonder, what is that going to mean for my county or my city or my district as a whole?
Always would come to Raleigh for Townhall Day, and we would come to Raleigh on other occasions to talk to our representatives at the time on different issues. And sometimes I felt like maybe the communication could have been a little more two-way dialogue. And you know, for that reason, I spend a lot of time now talking to the city manager of Mebane, the city manager of Graham, the city manager in Burlington. And we have open dialogue back and forth, not just when they come here, but I go to them.
There was a big issue. It's called impact fees, more specifically water and sewer capacity fees. I had no idea what that was until my local officials got together with me and explained the dilemma we faced. A healthy state of North Carolina depends on healthy cities, on healthy counties, and this court decision, had the potential to cause significant fiscal harm to those cities, those counties, to the taxpayers of those cities and counties. And we need healthy cities, we need healthy counties to have a healthy state of North Carolina. It's really critical. I'm a believer in local governance. They are the closest to their constituents, their voters. And if I don't hear from them about what the key issues are, the emerging issues, I can't help. So unless we have a great line of communication, and I believe we do, I really can't be of assistance to the local officials.
That type of collaborative process will always produce the very best possible outcome and the very best possible result. If you fail to network, if you fail to collaborate, if you fail to listen and understand, the very piece of legislation that you may be strongly behind will be put in jeopardy because of it. I can think of many bills over the years that I've worked on There's one we're currently working on with Senator Lee out of New Hanover County, looking at revising our land use and zoning laws in this state. It's been worked on for over a year and a half with people from the Institute of Government over at Chapel Hill, as well as those that are part of the real estate community and many state and local officials, particularly those in local government that have an interest in land use and zoning regulations and controls and how we might be able to modernize the statute that we have today. One thing that one misunderstands, a legislator, in any given day, you may get 150 to 200 pieces of email. The volume can be enormous. When we're in session, it could be 600 pieces of email a day. Get on the phone and talk to that legislator. Get on the phone and try to schedule an opportunity to get that person's time. Don't just pass the resolution, pass the buck, and think it's over with. If you really want to get it done, have ongoing, meaningful dialogue and communication. Some people may prefer to get an email from you. Some people will prefer to get a phone call from you. Personally, I like the personal touch. I feel that God gave you a voice so you could use it. So I would like people to give me a call and let me know what they think, share with me their thoughts and concerns, articulate the need for what it is that they seek to have done, and to work with me collaboratively, hand in hand, to get it accomplished.
It's been a pleasure to work with these people in the legislature because they do understand our issues most of the time and we're able to work together. Just because I've had continuing conversations with Senator Barefoot and Senator Alexander, and most of the time I'm not asking them for something, I'm just talking to them and inviting them to come to Wake Forest when we have things going on here. And because of that, year before last, Senator Barefoot entered a resolution for us to get some money for some work downtown that he knew was important to me because of conversations that we'd had. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you know each other and you've talked with each other.
Because we don't have a crystal ball. We just can't look and know why somebody wants to do something or if somebody wants to do something. They need to contact their legislator. They need to let them know what it is they're interested in. And they also need to be willing to come to Raleigh and explain what it is that they want and why. And that's one thing when I've done something for one of my beach communities or the city or the county, I've always asked them to come to Raleigh so that they can address the committee that's considering the bill because they are much more in tune with why they want that particular piece of legislation, the history behind it, and the rationale for it. And then once that is done, of course, it gives me the bullet points and the talks that I need to present it on the floor when it comes to the House for a vote.
So I think it's incumbent upon all of us to work to have good relationships with our legislators.
You me tell some funny jokes about Chuck?
Yeah. I mean, why not? Let's do it.
Nah.
How long have you known him?
I've known Mayor Allen for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think he was 12 when he started on the city council, and so as a matter of fact, I'll tell you the story. Yesterday, Mayor Allen and I had the opportunity to talk with junior leadership Wayne County, and so we had representatives from all the schools in the community that are doing this junior leadership program to identify and help grow new leaders in our community. So Mayor Allen and I were the two speakers that they asked to come talk about government, state government working together, and so we have a good time doing that.
All right, so let me tell you my favorite Representative Bell's story, okay? I was a new mayor. We were having a lot of gang shootings, a lot of gang activity going on, and he picks up, when it was getting a lot of press, and he picks up the phone one day and calls me and says, can I do anything to help? He said, I can call in the Governor's Crime Commission. We've got friends at ALE. What can we do to help? So we talked about it. We had a big powwow here, had the Crime Commission folks here, public safety, ALE, all these. We're going to come in and have a real big shakedown. We're going to bring all kinds of agents, resources in. They picked the day, the time, and all that. And I'm like, well, man, this sounds like something I'd like to be a part of.
So I was with our state folks, and Chuck was with the city folks, and we were on a joint mission that we were doing there in Goldsboro, and everybody swarmed into one location where they identified a suspect.
So we come up upon this stop that they've got. Everybody gets out. They got their guns drawn.
I jumped out of the car, and I had a vest on, and the state folks were protecting me. And Mary Allen jumped out of the car and looked at me and said, "Hey, man, how'd you get that vest?" I
look around. Well, everybody's got on bulletproof vests but me. I'm like, well, what happened to my vest? Y'all don't care about me or something? I know I'm just a mayor, but Representative Bell's all geared up here, and I got on nothing.
so Chuck was like, well, maybe they like, man, now I know what everybody thinks of me around here.
But since no bullets were flying, it's okay, right? So he always thought that was pretty funny that they left the mayor out.
So I'm proud to say now that they have issued him a vest, so he will be protected.
Representative Bell and I work really close together and a lot together. On the Maxell Center, that's a special story to us because we've been trying to build a ag center, civic center, whatever you want to call it, for 25 years.
One of the biggest accomplishments we had, we just had the grand opening about a month ago, was the Maxell Center.
We bought the land about 20 years ago, and it's just now coming to, or it's just now has been a reality. And basically what that took is a lot of partnership. It took the county, the city, the agricultural community coming together, and Representative Bell and all our representatives, and helping us get some agricultural side funding for that made it work for the commissioners. So I, absolutely, without their help, I don't think we would have the Maxell Regional Agricultural Center today. So I think it's hugely, hugely important what their role in that.
It's more than just, hey, what do you want? What's your wish list for the short session or the long sessions? But it's a dialogue throughout the year.
A very proactive attitude, I think, is always helpful in that regard.
So my focus with my 14 blessed municipals in my area is that when they call, I'm there. And I've told them all that, if you need me, call me. And I'll do what I can to work with you to get accomplish great things.
We have to be looking at a broad range of issues, the infrastructure, the transportation capabilities.
And so to the extent that I can have that kind of communication with the towns that I work with, then that just makes people see that, hey, yes, state government can work. We can all row in the same direction.
That's the sort of communication that you need with your General Assembly members. And you're not always going to get what you want, and you need to understand that. But having that communication will lead you to better results than not most of the time.